Hey, I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co, and this is Two Back or Not to Back. We're going to be going through a bunch of campaigns. There are a bunch of campaigns not funding. There's one cancellation, actually two cancellations, but I think we're only talking about one of them. There's a bunch of campaigns not funding, one or two updates, and then of course all the new campaigns. Links to everything down below, and as usual, we're going to start off with a Cult of the... I apologize for this. We're starting off with the Cult of the Now, except not really. This actually goes against everything that Cult of the Now stands for. You see, Cult of the Now is the idea that instead of Cult of the New, instead of Cult of the Old, instead of Cult of the whatever, we have Cult of the Now. Games you can currently get your hands on. You don't have to wait a year. You can check out any of the reviews for them. You don't have to, like, guess if it's a good game. And so to that end, today I give you a pre-order that will be available March 29th and doesn't have a lot of reviews and is in the future, granted less in the future than crowdfunding typically is. But I had a choice to make. I saw Forbidden Jungle pop up on Game Nerds and I was like, ooh, I didn't even know that it was coming. Do I tell you it was coming in case you're interested, or do I stick to my guns and my ethical standards of Cult of the Now? And so I decided I'll let you know, because honestly I was pretty excited, but it is what it is. I'm disappointed in myself. Yes, I genuinely am. But Forbidden Jungle, over on Game Nerds, I don't know anything about this game past the fact that it's the next thrilling chapter in the Forbidden series. Now, I will throw a dash of cold water on you. Forbidden Island is a classic. Forbidden Desert is even better. Forbidden Sky was forgettable. Just genuinely forgettable. Like, I don't know if anyone talks about it at all. I think there's one or two people who swear it's a good game, but Forbidden Sky was not that great. So before you spend your hard-earned money on Forbidden Jungle, think of this as a courtesy announcement that this is a game that's coming, and go ahead and feel free to wait for the reviews so as to, in some way, hold on to the spirit of Cult of the Now. Or just pre-order it. Either way. But from there, let's go ahead and dive into the campaigns. We are diving into a bunch of not funding and starting off with a cancellation. We have Back or Beyond, which unfortunately canceled within the first day or two. This one was trending towards funding, but they said it's not really trending to where they need it to be, and they can already see where it's going, and so they're canceling it and taking a step back. They didn't really clarify whether that's going to include a relaunch or not, so I think they're examining, taking a look. We'll see what happens now. This is coming to you from oh my gosh, the name of the company, I'm blanking out. The name of the company is, I'm blanking at this. It's a new company, Fabled Games. Fabled Games over here. This is their first launching into the crowdfunding space. Back or Beyond, a pirate theme, not really worker placement game, but pirate theme game. We're not going to heavily go into the game itself because it canceled, and we'll talk about it if or when it comes back to crowdfunding. From there, we have a bunch of campaigns not funding, starting off with one we already talked about, the Curse of the Candelabria. This one I'm only talking about because I expect there to not be a two-back or not to back next week. Nothing to do with what's on the schedule or not, just because of the fact that I'll be at Dice Tower West, and that means that I don't know when I'll be able to do a two-back or not to back, so there's no two-back or not to back next week. Instead, there'll be a different video entirely, the most expensive crowdfunding campaigns that I have ever backed, and that was by popular requests the last time I did a video like this. But either way, that'll be next week. Point is that this is the last time that I have a chance to talk about the Curse of Candelabria. This one may cross into the funding. I mean, this happened with Château, their original game from this creator. Their last game, Château, had one of those, like, you know, $300,000 goal, and slowly but surely making their way to the finish line, and only at the bare end do they finally cross it. That might happen here. With 9 days to go, and $25,000, $35,000, my math is off, $35,000 left to go on the funding, it may well cross the finish line, but it's going to be close. That's for darn sure. It's going to be close, and we'll see what happens here. This is your announcement that this is your opportunity to take a look, and if you're on the fence, go ahead and tip it over. Reminder, you don't get charged unless it funds, so there's no risk in that sense. So yeah, Curse of the Candelabria, feel free to check it out. They're doing well, but they obviously could be doing better. From there, we have a bunch of smaller campaigns. We have HELLBRINGER, 212 backers, $15,000 raised out of a $20,000 goal. This one will likely fund, almost certainly just with 15 days to go. It'll struggle to cross the finish line a bit, but it likely will cross. HELLBRINGER is actually a fun one. I'll have coverage on this one as well, hopefully soon, probably this Tuesday. Possibly not, I don't know, we'll see, but either way, this is, and I got the copy late, unfortunately, which is why my coverage is late, and I want to dive into it properly before I actually give you coverage in the game. But HELLBRINGER is a Diablo-like kind of, basically a solo-esque game of grabbing your character, and I said solo-esque. It's a cooperative or solo game in which you're going to grab your character and then go through various encounters as you use your skills, build up your talents, use your items, as you slowly power up as you tackle different enemies, and then upgrade your stats as you go through the game, as the enemies get progressively stronger and stronger. So basically a dungeon crawler, you know, adventure situation, not dungeon crawler, I don't know why I said that, a roguelite adventure kind of situation, and that's going to be HELLBRINGER. This one's going to be coming to you with a few pledge levels. We have $65 Canadian, $48 US for the hero tier, and then we have $70 for the monster tier, which brings you a bunch of the expansion stuff, and then $92 for the demon tier, which brings you the add-on set of dice and deck holder as well. And then we have the all-in as well, which gives you, what does the all-in give you? HELLBRINGER loots What did I miss here? All add-ons. All add-ons are in the all-in. Overall, I've only played the base game so far from this, but I have seen some of the expansion content, and it does look very cool. That's going to be HELLBRINGER. I'll probably talk about how many days we have left. We have 15 days to go. That means I probably will be able to talk about it in 2 weeks. Hopefully it'll be funded by then, and hopefully I'll have coverage up by then. From there, we have Soul of Ankiril. Soul of Ankiril, 145 backers, $14,700 raised. This is another one that will likely cross the finish line with 18 days to go, but we'll see how close it cuts it. And this is a 2-player head-to-head game, well, 2 to 4 technically, primarily designed as a 2-player experience, head-to-head. As you take on one of the various elements, the game comes in different element packs, so you can pair off fire against water and, you know, earth against air and that kind of situation over there. 6 different elements, pairing off against them, each with their own sets of the way you can build your decks, the creatures you'll control, as you try to slowly take down your opponent's places of power to basically, well, stop them being able to generate or do anything in the game. So it's all about controlling your characters in the game as you go through it. There's preview content up on Board Game Co. on my channel. You can check that out, done by Devin. You can check out more content around the game, but basically 2-player head-to-head game of controlling your various forces, choosing whether you want to engage in deck building or utilize their pre-made decks. And there's also a digital board game demo as well. So they have an app as well you can check out. You can play online or against the AI using their app. So both a board game and an app to dive into the experience as well. We have €34, $37 for the Initiate of Water and Fire, and that's going to be true for the Metal and Wood and Earth and Air packs. And then we have for $85 the Warden of Ankiril, which is going to be, let's see if we can scroll down over here. The Warden of Ankiril is going to be a box set giving you everything over here, the exclusive edition, I think that's the one, the Master of Teman. I believe that's going to be, yes, we have, I think, yeah, over here, exclusive slipcase. The Warden of Ankiril is going to give you the exclusive slipcase and all the sets over here in one bundled set. And the Master of Teman edition for €129, $138 is going to give you the additional components, the trays, the miniatures, all those extras for the game. Not currently funding, we'll see where it goes. Again, probably will cross the finish line before the campaign's over, but that's Soul of Ankiril. We have Star Tycoon, Build Your Galactic Corporation, 617 backers, $21,000 raised. This is a game of building out your tableau as you deal with the market economy in the middle of the game. There's going to be a market at play. You're trying to manage manage the market, buy and sell accordingly, build up your tableau, a bunch of things like that as you claim planets, develop, make a profit, and sometimes break a few laws and all that stuff in Star Tycoon. Pledge levels over here are going to be $34 for the Executive Pledge, which includes all stretch goals, basic pledge over there. We have the Vice President Pledge, which is going to be giving you the Star Tycoon, the promo card pack, and the Neo-Freen mat as well. And then for the CEO Pledge, we also have their acrylic tokens for $74, which is an update of $25 for it, which gives you the acrylic tokens, 152 acrylic tokens, which you can see over here, these guys over there. Then we have retailers, and that's what we have there. Again, not currently funding, and currently this one's coming in at 21 to 26, which means, again, likely will cross the finish line by the time this is done. Bunch of campaigns who probably will cross, but just taking their time to do so. And then lastly, in the not yet funding category, we have $10,000 out of a $26,000 goal. This is Wanderlust Discover the World by Pectus Studio, 155 backers, 24 days to go. And this one is less likely to cross the finish line, at least based on where it's at so far. It could, but just less likely based on where it currently is. And this is a kind of ticket to ride or trekking the world kind of situation in which you have a bunch of cards in the map. I have review coverage of the game, but you're going to have a map and you're going to be trying to explore the map as you have different elements pop on the board, different destinations, and you have to trade in sets of cards to figure out how you move from one destination to another using a combination of roads, of trains, of flights, of chartered flights, of planes, of airlines, airport to airport, all these different options as far as how you combine your cards to navigate across the board while fulfilling different objectives, while collecting different cities, and while collecting tourist objectives and photos and all those things in the various cities. It combines set collection and objectives as well as the general just, you know, trying to get the various locations, and it does so fairly well. I really enjoyed this one and thought it was very compelling. I'm sad to see it not doing quite as well. I don't know what it is, but I don't know whether it's, you know, lack of the word getting out there. I don't know if it's the look. I don't know what it is, but I am sad to see it not doing that well. From there, we're going to move on to the funded campaigns. The new campaigns starting off, I don't think we have any updates over here. The only update we really had was the Curse of Candelabria. So we're going to start off with Château, a print-and-play polyomino game, $8,000 raised, 589 backers. This is one of 2 print-and-play games we're going to be covering today, and this is 3 days to go. And Château over here, you're going to be rolling dice and trying to cross out spots on the palaces as you fill out these areas. This is going to be, oh, and then high focus on asymmetric, I believe asymmetric rolls, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's asymmetric aspects to the various boards and the special abilities on the boards. That's basically going to be Château over here. We have £5 or €5, so $6 for the base game, and then €8 or $9 for the Scandinavia expansion as well, and then the United Kingdom expansion or the Château Complete Edition for $12 there. Print and play roll night. There's a lot of these. They're always compelling to me. I personally don't pick these up because I don't go through the trouble to actually make it work. I should. Different conversation. But either way, if you're looking for a cheap print and play game that gives you a quick little puzzle of a game at a very low price point, assuming you're willing to print off the stuff and either laminate or just print it off yourself in color or not color, or however you want to do it, that's going to be Château over here. Moving on, we have Huang over on GameFound. This is from Phalanx Games, and this is basically Yellow and Yangtze for the most part as far as the game, and then plus some various modules that will mix up the gameplay, which does take a step back. Huang is basically, let's take a further step back, Tigris and Euphrates is a fantastic game by Reina Knizia. One of the top, no, it's not top 100 anymore, it's like 108 or 112, it's just outside, or 102, it's just outside the top 100 on Board Game Geek. Tigris and Euphrates is a fantastic experience that I highly recommend. Also, it's out of print. Enter Yellow and Yangtze, which came out, and Yellow and Yangtze is a fantastic game that basically takes Tigris and Euphrates and keeps the core mechanisms of Tigris and Euphrates, but ultimately mixes it up enough that there are things that people like more about it and things that people like less about it. Currently, it's rated higher, I believe a 7.9 to a 7.7, but it doesn't have as much people who have rated it, so it's ranked lower. That's a whole conversation around the BGG ratings, but 7.9 versus 7.7 in Yellow and Yangtze, which means overall the changes have been well received, seemingly from people who are rating the games. Enter Huang because Yellow and Yangtze has now entered the picture of being another game that is now out of print along with Tigris and Euphrates, and Huang is basically bringing Reina Knizia's title back, but this time it is basically the exact same game as Yellow and Yangtze, although over here on the GameFound copy, over here on Huang, and it's as opposed to Yellow and Yangtze, we have various modules that will mix up the gameplay as well. So it's Yellow and Yangtze plus expansions and modules in case you're looking for a bit of a catch-up mechanism as far as all the stuff that brings us here. And with that, we have 113,000 euro raised, 1,600 backers, 3 days to go. I will have coverage on this up tomorrow. Feel free to check that out. Unfortunately, my coverage was late on that, but we'll have it up tomorrow, so you can check out coverage on Huang. But they have the deluxe pledge over here for 59 euro, and for 45 euro, we have the standard pledge. The deluxe pledge is going to be bringing you the miniatures over here, so you have all these miniatures upgrade over here. This is going to be standee copy instead. And then they've unlocked the Ancient Kingdoms, which is going to be one of the modules, and again, they have standee and meeple versions of that. This is going to be one of the modules you can add to the gameplay. We have the double-sided playing mat, which is not a gameplay module, just, you know, upgraded pieces. We have the wooden leader set, and then we have the Royal Palace, which does have gameplay changes to it. The Royal Palace will come with its own unique rule set as far as how you incorporate it into the game. With 3 days left to go, I don't know if we're going to see more aspects to the game. I don't know if we're going to see more modules, but that's kind of high level where we're at. As far as the gameplay itself, I should probably cover that for those who don't know Tigris or Yellow and Yangtze, or just completely tuned out of my historical discussion of the games you don't know. But the very short overview of the game is this is a game which you can take 5 actions on your turn. That's not true. You take 2 actions from 5 possible actions. You're going to be placing your moving leaders around the board, placing tiles on the board, slowly using the abilities of tiles and or creating pagodas, all in the goal of scoring as many points as possible. As you add tiles to a region, you are effectively going to get points based on the leaders in that region. The tricky part is there are 4 colors of points and your score is your lowest color, which means this is a game about making sure that you are well diversified in how you approach the game. It is easy to sit there and build up a red stronghold and have all your soldiers on the board, but if you have 18 points of red and 4 points in blue, your score is 4. And so you have to make sure to be well diversified, build different pagodas, keep an eye on your opponents, try to get a gauge for who is well balanced and try to take away their pagodas, or make sure to destroy their kingdoms by discarding some farmer tiles to slowly take away that one spot before then launching a war against your opponents. There's a lot of solid tactical play here, a lot of mean tactical play, a lot of fun going on in Yellow and Yangtze. If that sounds similar to Tigris and Euphrates, see previous historical lesson as to why it is similar to Tigris and Euphrates, but very different. There's lots of differences. On the other hand, if you played Yellow and Yangtze, basically the same game. But that's what we have over here. That's going to be Huang over on GameFound. Also, don't forget to take into account the various shipping costs as well as you choose that, and those are going to be your main options. Deluxe or standard, as well as stretch goals, as well as add-ons, in case you want to add any of that. Moving on to Skulls of the South Tigris over on Kickstarter. We have 4,150 backers, 310,000. This is coming to you from Garfield Games. Garfield Games, I got corrected. It's definitely Garfield because it's named after his father, Phil. Did not know that. Cool fact. That's going to make it helpful to remember because I've been calling it Garfield for a very long time. Either way, Garfield Games, Skulls of the South Tigris. This is the newest game in the South Tigris series. Obviously, Shem Phillips and Garfield Games. A ton of just well-produced quality games that get a lot of buzz. I think they have 3 games in the top 100, which is insane, and they have, well, you know, the South Tigris series, which started off with Wayfarers. which I do want to play. I should play it at Dice Tower West. I want to play Wayfarers at Dice Tower West. Let's see if we can make that happen. Past that, we have Scholars of the Tigris, a game which you're going to be translating scrolls as you deal with a degree of bag building and various, color matching and a whole bunch of abilities and various classes you're using, various characters you're going to be using to help you in your goals. This can be another point salad-y kind of approach from Shem Phillips from Garfield Games. Point salad is probably the wrong term to use there. This is another well-crafted Euro with a bunch of mechanisms that have been used before, but crafted into their own little puzzle, as he tends to do with his games. Just well-polished, well-refined games that have historically done tremendously well and been very well received. That's going to be Scholars of the South Tigris. Pledge levels over here, we have $44 for the Scholar Pledge, which is going to give you the South Tigris, as well as the 2023 Kickstarter promo pack, and then we have various language editions as well. And generally for their games, we have also the metal coin set for $57 if you want the metal coin set for the game. In general, when it comes to backing Garfield Games over on Kickstarter, there's a lot of reasons to back them, from supporting the creator to early access, or also if you live internationally and don't have easy access to cheap, affordable games. But if you are someone who does get your games at your local online game store at, whatever percentage off MSRP, generally you can wait and get these games cheaper. So for the most part, it depends on why you're backing things, but if your goal is price point and price point alone, generally you can get these games later at cheaper at retail if you're just willing to wait. That's going to be Scholars of the South Tigris from Garfield Games. Moving on, we have Ancient Terrible Things Reawakened. 833 backers, $40,000 raised, 10 days to go. Ancient Terrible Things is a kind of Yahtzee style, or I don't know if it's Yahtzee so much as rolling dice and dealing with set collection as you go through a bunch of challenges, trying to accomplish those challenges, and or alternatively having Ancient Terrible Things latch onto you in a way that will slowly lower your score. So you're going to go through encounters, resolve the encounters, and try to avoid the failing an encounter being the inexplicable event ever closer. So this is going to be a reprint of a 2013 title, if I'm not mistaken. A 2013 title that, same basic gameplay. I don't know if they've made any major changes to it, but they certainly have deluxeified it just a notch in terms of the presentation and cleaned up the art, it even looks like. I could be wrong with that, but we'll see. Past that, they have $9 for the print and play of the game, in case you want that. $25 for the upgrade kit, which will bring your original version of the game up to par. And then we have $45 for the core game, and then $90 for the deluxe, which gives you all the new content, including the Dice Tower and the Heavy Denim Game Mat. Let's go ahead and take a look at those. So we have over here, we have the print and play, this, that, and over here, the Dice Tower and the Giant Game Mat as well, in case you want any of those. Look at this, look at this, look at this denim mat, which looks cool, I guess, and then the Dice Tower. Honestly, the Riverboat Dice Tower does look really cool. I almost wish they didn't have this, or hey, you know what, if you're watching this video, whoever the company is behind this, where are you? Where are you? If you're watching this video, what's the company name? Where is it? A little higher. Pleasant Company Games. Pleasant Company Games, a little suggestion if you will. I would recommend giving an extra piece. Where's my Dice Tower? I lost it. I'm sorry for the rapid scrolling. Over here, if we get to the Dice Tower, I would highly recommend including an extra piece that is like this, but not having game content on the side, because this is a cool Dice Tower on its own. I think it'd be cool for people to be able to have the option, either on their Dice Tower, either because they're buying it, whatever the reason is, if they can have a different piece that doesn't have game mechanics on it, so people can choose whether they want the Dice Tower for this game, or alternatively they can choose whether they want to have this Dice Tower for some other game, because it's just a very, very cool Dice Tower. So I'd recommend that. Have a little extra cardboard piece, although I'm sure people can make their own and just put it on top or something. I don't know. I'm spending way too much time on this Dice Tower. It's a cool Dice Tower. But past that, as far as will it hold its value, will it not? For the most part, I'm skeptical it will. This game does have, well, it has 833 backers. It's definitely a following to a degree, but this is a game that was rated like a 6.7 on Board Game Geek. Unless they are enhancing the gameplay, for the most part, this is likely going to have the same level of general demand, which is to say, not that much. It's a good game. It'll have its audience, but once you're paying, depending how much you spend on it, different pledge levels, but once you factor in shipping and all that on top of it, I think it's one that if you're lucky, you might get close to your money back, but probably lose something on this. Likely will not hold its value. Moving on from there, we have the Soda Pop collection from Thundergriff Games. 79,000 euro raised, 1,600 backers, 12 days to go, and if this isn't like the best Kickstarter trailer I've seen, well, not Kickstarter, backer kit trailer, crowdfunding trailer, if this is not the best crowdfunding trailer I have seen in a long time, well, watch the trailer and let me know, because honestly, that trailer makes me want these games. Well, that and the fact that they have 30-second long explanation videos in every single game, that 3 of the 4 of those games do sound compelling, makes me want those games. But really, the trailer from Oniro Productions, by the way, Oniro... Are they called Oniro Productions? Let me scroll to the bottom of this page quickly, and it's called Oniro. Just Oniro, not Productions. From Oniro, who does various video event crowdfunding trailers and stuff. If you are a creator who wants to do cool videos, check out Oniro. Or also check out Kagan as well. Those are the two companies I know that do this. But this one's from Oniro over here. Soda Pop collection and just a fantastic 30-second long trailer. Now for that, what is this actual collection over here? It's a collection of games in soda cans, which if you're not a fan of that, neither am I. It's whimsical, it's cute, it's endearing, and it's also annoying. The only thing that gives it any sort of redeeming quality is the fact that they do have, look at this, they have a fridge bundle. A fridge bundle that's designed to fit on your shelf nicely along with your other games. They had a picture of it somewhere. They had a picture of the fridge bundle somewhere. I don't know where it is. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But the fridge bundle does make up for the fact that the rest of it is terrible. I hate gimmicky bags. I hate gimmicky boxes. Hate is a strong word. I am really not a fan of gimmicky containers for your board games. I have to store these board games, and I don't like it when I have to figure out how to make your custom thingy fit on my shelf. So again, the fact that they have a box for all of them does in some way redeem it. On the flip side though, it does mean that you kind of need all four, otherwise what are you going to do? Store a single soda can in a box? Either way, I guess you could put it in like a little cup holder in your table and just whatever. These are problems you can deal with and decide on your own. Past that though, the games really do look compelling. On a personal level, 3 of the 4 of these games I actively want, and the 4th I just don't know, could go either way. Although I can't say whether they're good or not, I'm just saying they look compelling. If you go through the games over here, they have fantastic little trailers that will show you how to play the games. Catacomb is a game of trying to make sure that you basically have your pieces on top of all 3 colors as you move your pieces Mancala style through the game. Watch the 30-second video if you're interested. Looks very compelling. I think I'd enjoy that tactical puzzle. For Genesis is a game but using your character's abilities to ultimately get one of your tokens to the other side, to your opponent's spot. Again, a 30-second video looks really compelling. We also have stretch goals for these things, by the way. As you go through the game, as you go through the campaign, there are various stretch goals to unlock extras. Lightseeker is the only one that didn't really intrigue me. I couldn't fully figure out exactly how this works because you're kind of trying to operate on a shared land as you accumulate 7 points of light. Either way, 30-second trailer, you can check that out. This one did not overly compel me, but possibly because I don't understand it enough. And then we have over here, we have Top Cap, which is, again, 30 seconds. This looks like an abstract strategy game, almost TAC adjacent, although I don't know how to actually play, but I like abstract strategy games, and so this did compel me. But overall, these are the 4 games you can check out. It's going to run you, I believe, €45 for them all, if not mistaken. Let's see if we have the back it. The pledge levels, let's go to here. Nope, back it. There's a way to see over here. €15 for each one. Alternatively, you can get for €45. I have to look behind my camera. Nope, €45 for the entire fridge bundle. And then additionally, there are extras if you want to pay for a little extra content over here. We have the collectible golden the caps. The full game Get Salty. This is available over here. This is an additional game in a little bag. That's a snack bag. You probably can guess my feelings in that. But this is something that I believe is available to anyone who has backed a a campaign from, oh my gosh, what's the name of the company? Backed a campaign from Thundergriff. Yeah, from Thundergriff Games. If you've backed a game from them in the past, you should be able to get this for free, I believe. Check that out. And then we have collectible feline pins and cat a card poker deck. So kind of all these extras are here if you want access to them. As far as should you back it, should you not, will it hold its value? I'm skeptical that it will, primarily because mini games generally tend not to. When you have these miniature sets of games, for the most part, and there are exceptions, but for the most part, these types of games and these types of sets of collections have a harder time finding their holding their value overall. This may be your cheapest and easiest way to get your hands in it, which is a different conversation, but I'm a little more skeptical that it will hold its value. The games do look very compelling. The trailer looks very compelling. I have no idea how the can system will actually work or not. Either way, I mean, listen, if the can system works, go ahead and put out like a whole bunch more of these. Put out like 20 more soda cans of games. It is cute in its own way. I just give me a box. Just give me a box. That's all I'm saying. Moving on, we have D-Day Dice Reinforcements. 878 backers, $71,000 raised. D-Day Dice, which, fun fact, by the way, this was the first, not this, but like the original D-Day Dice was the first campaign to cross $100,000 on crowdfunding ever. From the tabletop category, I should say. From the tabletop category, the first one to cross $100,000. I think like Alien Frontiers popularized, like, you know, the idea that you can actually have a game over on crowdfunding. D-Day Dice crossed $100,000, and then Zombicide taught us all that stretch goals and tons of miniatures can raise $500,000 or up to like $12-13 million too. So fun little facts about crowdfunding that you learned today. D-Day Dice Reinforcements, though, this is coming to you from Wardforge Games. They picked up D-Day Dice. They put out the second edition of, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago with the second edition campaign, and now they're coming back with reinforcements, and they say in this campaign that this is the last time they're reprinting it. That's what they say. I mean, I assume it's true. I just don't know why they say that specifically. But the game sold over 20,000 copies total altogether, and now they're doing another print run of it. And I guess they're going to do a final print run and possibly never print it again, I guess. So there's that. By the way, fun fact, Dominion said that once upon a time there'd be no more expansions, and that was like 6 expansions ago. Anyways, moving on, D-Day Dice Reinforcements is going to be an expansion to D-Day Dice, as well as new content for the game. This is a solo or cooperative game of trying to manage your dice as they are playing as the allied soldiers, trying to be mindful of how you utilize and manage your resources, and how you move your dice around the board to manage the tactical strategy of the game. Never played it, that's high-level overview of it. As far as the pledge levels over here, we have €15 for the Trooper Pledge, which is going to be the all-new stuff over here. We have $31 for the Logistics Officer, which is if you want all 3 new expansions over there. And then we have $79 for the New Recruit, which is just new content if you don't have the game, and €140, $169 for the Quartermaster Pledge if you basically want absolutely everything for it, and if you are new to the game experience. That's what we have over here, and there's only 83 left of 300 of those. You can check out How to Play from Dale the Casual Gamer. Great channel, great guy. You can check that out over here, and that's basically what's going on in D-Day Dice. As far as should you back it, should you not, will it hold its value? In general, D-Day Dice, especially if you want more content, is a harder game to track down. I would say that it is, if you are interested in the game, this might be the best and easiest way to get your hands on it. As far as holding its value, I'm skeptical that it will. For the most part, the first edition, the second edition, all that stuff, I mean, the first edition is a whole different conversation. Let's save that for another day. But as far as the second edition, if you look at the sales on the game, for the most part, it looks like this is one that sells for below what people paid for it. I think there were like a lot, like there were like 3,000 plus people that backed the second edition, and I think that more copies of that are flooding the market, so that it made it less available, less. I'm using my words wrong here. More copies of that were available, such that the price on it has gone down in the secondhand market. Moving on to an Age Contrived. Give me a second, sir. Sorry about that. An Age Contrived, a Euro game of engine building and fantasy gods for 1 to 5 players. 3,500 backers, $350,000 raised, 17 days to go, and Age Contrived is, well, what it says. It's a Euro game of engine building and fantasy gods for 1 to 5 players. This is a game in which you are trying to be building out your... So many things here. You're building out so many aspects of your tableau in this game, from the various tokens you'll have over here, the various sources of energy you have, from the various the tokens that go into the trade that you'll be managing your source of energy, from the various player powers you have, from putting your various tokens that your individual asymmetric faction has onto the board so you can unlock your own individual player powers, while also putting link tap tokens onto the board, and you're trying to manage how and where your energy goes in the game. Ultimately, it's a game of trying to plan out your turns, having very interesting and cool combos work out as you build monuments and chain the energy to other areas on the board, and leveling up your asymmetric character as you wander around, step on links, do that, do the other, all while trying to manage how you're going to score points in the game. There's a lot going on in the game. You can check out a ton of content in the game. There's an absolute ton of content from playthroughs, from how to plays, from overviews, from reviews, from previews, a lot of stuff to see and more about this game. It is both, it's physically, it's crazy as far as what it's doing with magnets and pieces and miniatures and a whole bunch of things, and acrylic, you know, nice shiny, I don't know if it's acrylic, but the chunky little energy tokens that they have. Lots of fun things, both physically as well as far as how everything chains together in this Euro game. As far as the pledge levels here, a few levels, few options at the table. We have $65 for the core game. That is going to give you miniatures and the monument standees and the acrylic stuff. So the base game over here, the base pledge does come with all those fancy little things that you have there for $65. And then it also has the Divine Winds module and the Rural Tree Monument as well. On some of these are Kickstarter exclusive items. Then we have the Collector's Edition, which will give you the Game Trace insert, as well as the mechanical steel boards. These are nice to have. They're very cool, very premium, but I don't necessarily know if they're essential to the experience. I think they're just fun and like really enhance the feel of the game on the table, but definitely not essential. And then the storage could be great if you use it. I haven't seen anything about it, but Game Trace makes fantastic inserts in general, so you can check that out. And then lastly, and very fun, they have this one over here. They had in the in the $99 pledge and above, they have basically personalizing your game. You'll be able to have your name printed on the inside of the game box, which if you like this game is very cool, because you have your own game box with your name on it, which is like so cool. If you don't like the game, well, in my case, I better hope that I can find someone named Alex who wants to copy the game, or someone named John who doesn't mind someone's copy that was named Alex. So there is that aspect. I don't think it'll hurt sellability or retradability. I think it's a fun little quirk in case it's a game that's, you know, not being kept, or just grab some like highlighter and just color over it or something. I don't know. You can have a little chain of sun. I don't know. Either way, that's $99 pledge over there. For $119, you're going to get the miniature Sundrop, which is actually technically, Sundrop is a licensed term from Awakened Realms, so instead you'll get your miniatures ink shaded instead, as well as having the extra cardboard overlays, which, you know, I think those are from the base game version, so you have the option to use either the metal or the cardboard tokens as well for the game. And then I think there's one other thing. No, maybe not. I think, oh yes, the expansion, there we go. And also you get the expansion over here as well. The expansion is the Divine Winds module as well for the game. I believe that's the, nope, not that. It is the the Ad Infinitum expansion to the game. So you're going to have that as well in the $119 level, which basically means $20 extra is getting you some cardboard components, and then inked wash miniatures and an expansion. That's what we're going to have over here. As far as should you back it, should you not, will it hold its value? I think it will, although it's hard to say for sure. At the end of the day, we have 3,500 people backing this game, and the game is good. I've played the game, and I think it is complicated, and it's not immediately intuitive, but it is rewarding once you dive into it. It gave me strong vibes of Oros if you've played that, but honestly, like, I mean, I think I compared it to Hansa Teutonica as well. There's a lot of compelling aspects kind of chaining together in this game that is very rewarding in what it does, and this is I think it is a game that will be well liked and well received between the production value and the game design. Combine that with the fact that, honestly, the price point for what you're getting here, that $65 price point to get a board which has like these 3D monuments and chunky plastic bits and miniatures all in a big box, that is a reasonable price point for that alone. That's before we get into deluxeification. I am curious how much the naming does affect the, you know, resale value of the game. I am very curious whether it'll have any effect at all. I mean, I guess in theory you can put, like, if you're really worried about that, then if you get the deluxe pledge, instead of putting in, like, you know, in my case, my name is Alex, instead of doing that, just call itself, like, you know, I don't know, Master, I can't think of something that is generic and not specific. So, for example, you could say Unnamed Shadow Lord. I don't know. This is off the cuff. I could do better. Give me some time. Give me some time. I'll do better. But you can come up with a name that is generic in case you're worried about that. So just don't put your name there, or just hope that your name is, like, literally John, in which case you'll probably have an easier time finding someone, because that's a common enough name. But yeah, I'm curious about that. But overall, I do think it'll hold this value. Not 100% confident, but definitely I think that there's enough game here, and there's enough premium stuff going on at a reasonable enough price point that I think is a decent back. Moving on, we have Encountered Shattered Wastes. 432 backers, $38,000 raised, 18 days to go. A cooperative board game, but slaying monsters, slinging spells, and surviving magical corruption. This is basically a game which you're going to be taking on a variety of characters and then trying to take down one of 8 bosses, or at least one of 8 bosses in the core game, and you're going to be trying to choose the boss that you're going to try to face off against the boss, and then slowly go through a process of trying to build your character, utilize their abilities, utilize your character's specific ability, and the abilities and skills based on the way you built your character, all trying to chain them together and figure out how you can combine the various characters to take down the boss, as the boss eventually morphs into their stronger, more powerful form, but eventually you as the characters can also shatter and become more powerful for a brief time before you burst out in a flame of just, you know, over way too much power. Basically, everyone's kind of escalating towards an endgame as each side gets more powerful as you get closer to the end of the game, which is a mechanic that I like in general. I have coverage of Encounter Shattered Waste, you can check it out. I really enjoyed this game, I like it a lot. I also like the acrylic standees. There's acrylic standees you can get over here for the pledge levels. We have $55 for the standard edition of the game, which will give you the game. We have $125 for the deluxe edition, which will give you the game, and then as well 16 acrylic hero standees, 16 acrylic enemy standees, 8 foil character cards, the Neophene mat, and 3 unique shattered dice. So a whole bunch of extra premium components, but also at $70 extra for the game, so take that into account. And then lastly, there's also the option to go ahead and buy for an extra $20 to buy even more standees, acrylic standees, a bunch of options. So let's see if we can scroll down here. We have additional character standees somewhere over here. These ones over here are alternate art acrylic character standees, which gives you an alternate art version, which you could just have for funsies, or you can use it when a character reclaims themselves from being shattered, which is rare and has not happened to me yet in, like, I don't know, 6 games I've played or something like that. Has not happened yet to me yet, but it could certainly happen. I would say don't get this for that. Get this if you want them, and then maybe you'll be able to use them. Past that, there is fun battle music. Genuinely, click on this and, like, imagine yourself playing through the game with the battle music in the background. I like it, genuinely. But past that, that's what we have over here for this game. That's Encounter Shattered Waste. A great game. Highly recommend the game, which brings us to the should you back it, should you not. And that's where it goes a little harder. $55 for the base game is not cheap, especially once you factor in shipping. I think that it puts us at a slightly more expensive base game kind of price. I think content-wise, it kind of does justify itself. Content-wise, with 8 characters and 8 bosses, there's a lot there. But from a pure box size and what you're getting, and component-wise, $55 plus shipping is a decent amount to ask for the game, and I think it's going to be a harder pitch to, you know, get your money back on that. The problem is escalating to the deluxe edition, which is beautiful, is $125 for the deluxe edition, which is $70 extra. You're more than doubling the price of the game to get all these premium stuff, which just puts it, again, I think it just makes it fairly expensive. I think Encounter Shattered Waste is an excellent game, and it's one that's definitely worth checking out, but I think it is expensive, and I think that will affect the resale value as well, in case it's a game that's not for you. Moving on, we have Wards of Stonefall Chapter 1. In case you want something that's significantly cheaper, this is a $7 print and play, and it's Chapter 1 of the epic narrative Wards of Stonefall Chapter 2, 3, 4, and 5. Ignore me on that. I have no clue how many chapters there are. This is just chapter 1. There'll be a certain number of chapters, I assume, in the future. This is coming to you from Backfire Games. They've had one print and play until now. This is their second one, and it looks like it's the second of a series of chapter 2, 3, and 4, or let's just say chapter 2 onwards, because I don't actually know how many there are, but I assume there's more than chapter 1. But the goal over here is to create a big box experience without the big box price tag. This is going to be a print and play for $7, I believe. I think it's just $7. Nope, there's $10. If you want the all stretch goals and your name on the backer sheet in the rulebook in bold, so $10 will get you that over there. So basically $7 or $10 for the game, or $6 if you got the early bird, but that's all gone. And this is a game of rolling dice and then trying to assign the dice to your various wards as these various whims are going to attack. You have to balance matching the wards against the whims, something along those lines. I don't perfectly understand all the details of this one, but basically rolling dice, assigning them, and trying to survive across the rounds of play. Again, don't fully know. There is a degree of reading text and whatnot, so you're going to be, where's that aspect here? Let me see if I can find that. At the end of each round, mark off. When a letter is marked off, reference the narrative book to see what event occurs. So there's also a narrative book that will give you some degree of events. So it's giving you that big box kind of narrative experience mixed in with a roll and write print and play, which sounds intriguing, but I haven't actually played it, but that's what we have here. And for $7, you can see just how intriguing it is, and that is Wards of Stonefall. Should you back it on any print and play is up to you, just, you know, not going to hold its value. It's just a question of whether you're going to play it enough to get $7 worth of value out of it. Moving on, and lastly, we have Sally Face Strange Nightmares, and I'm not going to heavily be going into this campaign. We have 1,800 backers, we have $177,000 raised, 25 days to go, and the reason I'm not heavily going into this is because this is from Maestro Media, and they've done this with, oh my gosh, what's the name of the game? They've done it with I always forget. They've done it in the past with their other game system, not from this creator, but from a different person. I am blanking on it. I'm blanking on it. I can't find it. It's somewhere here. They have another game that it's gonna bother me. Let me scroll down and find it. Give me a second. I went too far. Here we go. The Binding of Isaac. They've done this in the past with The Binding of Isaac, where they basically have a game, and then they have like 7,000 pledge levels, all with a lot of t-shirts and miniatures and extra stuff and all these extra swag, effectively, for the game, because of the target audience for Sally Face. Sally Face is a video game, has a loyal following, and they're trying to bring in a lot of that loyal following, and a lot of it's going to be various pledge levels catered around that. As far as the game design aspect, I can't speak to how the game is or was designed, or how good is it. Is it more of a, man, by good, I don't mean to be like gatekeeper in that. I just mean, is this more mass market focused, or is this more designer board game focused in terms of who the target audience for this game is? I can't speak for that, but the good news is lots of content you can check out to get a feel or taste as to whether the game itself is for you or is not for you. What I can say is there's 17 pledge levels, and the 17 pledge levels come with a varieties of swag in them. I don't know if it's exactly 17, but there's a lot of pledge levels, all with a variety of swag, giving you different options and access to the way you get this game. There's a retail pledge level over here for $40. At that point, I would say just get the game in retail. And then there's the $55, which will give you all the extras, and then from there $70 and $100 and $135 and $150 and $165 and $250 and $325 and $600 and $950 and $5,000 and $250 also there. And then 325, there's too many levels. There's too many pledge levels. 2 of them are gone, but the rest of them are going to give you tons of ways to get various extra stuff for this game, upwards of spending up as much as $5,000 for this. Again, not going to heavily go into it, but I will say this game is here, and you can look into it if you are the target audience for this, if you want to know more. And with that, we're going to go ahead and call it a wrap. That is everything we have here, but before we call it a wrap, let's pick our picks of the week. Picks of the week, oh, and then hold its value. Sally Face hold its value, that's complicated. Similar to Binding of Isaac, this is a very different audience. So there is a large audience for a lot of the stuff over on eBay for some of these game systems. Binding of Isaac is a game that has done fairly well as far as holding its value. It has an audience of people who want that extra swag. It's just not the audience I typically deal with in terms of the board game aftermarket, so I feel less confident talking about it. I'll just say Binding of Isaac had a lot of stuff that held its value. That might hold true for Sally Face as well. I don't know. But from there, let's move on to the picks of the week. Picks of the week, as usual, have 2. We have one game that is the game that I am the most interested in, whether I've played it or I've not played it, but I just have the most personal interest in. And then we have the game that I think is most likely to hold its value. As far as the game that is most likely to hold its value, I believe an Age Contrived gets that one. I'm not 100% confident in this. It is something different, but I think it's, even especially at that cheapest price point where it's $65 and gives you most of the premium components, I think that's just a fairly good price for a game that will have a decent amount of aftermarket market following. I think people will like this game. I think people will want this game. I think this game is going to come back to crowdfunding in 2 years or whatever it is, because people are going to want to get their hands in it. And to that end, I think the price point combined with what you're getting, I think it will hold its value. Moving on to the one that I think is my personal interest, moving on to my personal interest pick, I would almost pick the Soda Pop collection. I really do like 3 of the games over here. Like, they look very compelling, but mini games have let me down in the past, and so I'm not willing to pick it, but I did want to say I came close to picking this. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and go with Encounter Shattered Waste, which is a game that I have played and I've really enjoyed, and I think it does a really good job giving you a solid battling system and a 60-90 playtime with lots of replayability and lots of fun powers and abilities and ways to optimize around the system as you play through Encounter Shattered Waste. And with that, lastly, coming up next week, we have 2 things I want to talk about. First of all, we have on back kit, we're going to have Sentinels of the Multiverse Desperation. The next game in the Sentinels of the Multiverse line is coming to back kit, and the enhanced definitive version, all that. This is going to be coming to back kit next week in like 1 day, 10 hours, and all that stuff. And then over on GameFound, we have a non-official Frosthaven and Gloomhaven compatible playmats second printing. This is going to be coming to GameFound very, very shortly. I think very shortly. It should be coming, I believe it's coming next week, and this is going to be playmats for Frosthaven and Gloomhaven if you want to get access to any of that stuff. And with that, we're going to go and call it a wrap. I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it helpful in some way. And until next time, I hope you have a good one. What do Daredevil and Scarlet Witch have in common? They both lost their vision.